Hello, everyone, and good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you're at. My name is Alexis Foley. I am an educational program coordinator with ACUHO-I, and I am so happy to have you all here today. This webinar is a part of ACUHO-I's new webinar series this year, really just an ongoing commitment to spotlight timely topics in our field and to elevate voices across our profession. Before we get started, just a couple of notes. Today's session is being recorded and will be available on the ACUHO-I YouTube channel following the webinar. Following the presentation, there might be an opportunity to ask Caprice a couple of questions. You can also share your thoughts in the chat throughout. If you do have questions that would like to be answered, that you'd like to be answered, please utilize the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. We also encourage you throughout the session to use the chat and to use your reactions to react to the information that Caprice is sharing. Your contributions are valued, and our speakers always value when our audience is engaging. So please utilize those tools. With that, I am excited to introduce our speaker today, Caprice Risby. Caprice Risby is a passionate higher educational professional with deep roots in residence life and student leadership development. Caprice's journey in student affairs began as an undergraduate student at Illinois State University, where she served as a resident assistant for 3 years. This formative experience inspired her commitment to fostering supportive and inclusive campus communities. In 2017, Caprice graduated with a Bachelor of Science from Illinois State University and continued her education at Northern Illinois University. During her graduate studies, Caprice gained extensive experience in both student leadership and residence life. In her first year, she held the position of Leadership Development Graduate Assistant for Housing. In this role, she advised the Residence Hall Association, taught a court on social justice, and served in the on-call duty rotation. Her second year brought new challenges as a graduate hall advisor, where she co-taught a University 101 course for first-year students, further nurturing her passion for student development. Caprice earned her master's degree from Northern Illinois University in May 2022. Following graduation, Caprice relocated to California to serve as the inaugural leadership coordinator at California State University, San Bernardino. There, she advised the Residence Hall Association, developed and implemented student leadership training programs, and oversaw hiring for housing student leader positions for 3 years. Caprice currently serves as a community manager in the Department of Residence Life at Texas A&M University. Caprice believes that housing is uniquely positioned to holistically support students by promoting wellness, providing academic support, and fostering independent living during the college years. Caprice, I am passing it to you.
All right, thank you. So thank you to everyone who's here. My name is Caprice Risby, and like she mentioned, I'm currently at Texas A&M University as a community manager where I oversee 8 resident advisors. And so the name of this is From Scattered to Strengths, Harnessing ADHD Superpowers at Work. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I have 3 learning outcomes. I want you all to leave here, identify your personal strengths and challenges associated with ADHD in the workplace, and reflect on how lived experiences with ADHD can shape your professional growth and leadership style. Also, the second one is to explore the unique abilities that individuals with ADHD often bring to roles in housing and residence life, and will recognize bias, stigma, and misunderstandings related to ADHD and neurodiversity, and discuss ways to address them. Lastly, participants will be able to develop strategies for building resilience and recovering from setbacks in a professional environment, and will learn tools for more effective and clear communication with supervisors, peers, and teams. And so this webinar is not just for people who have ADHD. This is for people, for like if you have peers or you supervise anyone, things of that such. So I'm going to talk about my story. I'm a late diagnosis ADHD. I found out last October, so it's like the anniversary of me knowing this wonderful thing. And so I've always dealt with it my whole life. But when the first time I went and got inquired about it, because my dad has it, and most of the time it's inherited. I was told that I would have bipolar disorder, which is often a misconception especially in women and girls who have ADHD, especially women of color, due to my symptoms. And so now that I have this understanding, now that I'm officially diagnosed, I have this understanding of the way that my brain works, and now I can have like those helpful resources to help me manage that. And so since I've discovered that I had ADHD, I've been able to just do a lot of research, and I understand more about myself. So, what is ADHD? It is a developmental disorder characterized by an ongoing pattern of one or more of the following types of symptoms. Inattention, such as having difficulty paying attention, keeping on task, or staying organized. This is mainly found in women and girls with ADHD. Hyperactivity, such as often moving around, including during inappropriate times, feeling restless, or talking excessively. And impulsivity, such as interrupting, intruding on others, or having trouble waiting on one's turn. And so when I read this for the first time, I'm like, yep, that's pretty much me. So so we're gonna do this activity called Read the Zoom. This activity I created specifically for a ACUHO-I webinar. So I would like to see how you all react to it. So you can all either use the chat or you can do your reactions, but I'm going to ask you some questions and then it'll prompt you to answer it in a certain way using certain emojis. So, do you identify as a neurodivergent? Work with someone who is, or are you here to learn and support? So, a thumbs up if you're neurodivergent, heart if you work with someone who is, clap if you're here to learn and support, and you're not sure yet. Okay, I see a lot of thumbs up. Hey, people. All right, thank you. So I feel our department is open to new ways of working and thinking. If you agree, thumbs up. Somewhat, it depends. Do a heart. Clap, needs more support. Not sure yet, question mark. Okay, good. All right, so our leadership actively promotes inclusivity and understanding of neurodiversity. Again, thumbs up if you agree. Somewhat, it depends. Needs more support. Not sure yet. I see a lot of agrees. Okay, that's good. So this one's going to be a fill in the blank. So one thing our team does well when it comes to inclusion is, and you can type this in the chat. Giving everyone a voice. We discussed it. Important. Flexibility, adaptation, openness. Yeah, we're going to talk about how important that is. Thank you. Giving space to breathe, creating space, acknowledging it. Yes, just bringing it up is important. So this is a reaction. I feel equipped to listen and respond when someone shares their learnings or support needs. So this is a reaction. You agree? Okay. Somewhat, yeah, that's okay. Like I understand that as well. This is it's new for some people. Thank you. So fill in the blank. A resource or strategy that can help our team support neurodiversity is recognizing it, more education, training, knowledge, and understanding. Thank you. So our team welcomes honest communication about challenges and strengths. This doesn't have to be necessarily ADHD related, just period. So this is a reaction. Somewhat, okay. Okay. When I see someone working differently, and fill in the blank, like differently than what you're used to, or differently from you. Frustrated, yes. Allow them to work and admire and inspired from it, how I can support them, approach with curiosity, ask questions and support. Okay. From a standpoint of learning, yes, because you just never know. I understand because I'm different too. So one word that describes an inclusive workplace to me is, and this is the last one, and if I can copy to make my job easier. So one word that describes an inclusive workplace to me is safe, yes. Understanding, compassion, willing to learn. So our next activity is myth busting. What are some stereotypes, assumptions, or labels you've seen or heard used to describe folks with ADHD in the workplace? Reminder, this is a judgment-free zone. We're sharing what exists in this world, not necessarily what we believe. So, yeah, lazy, irresponsible, disorganized, scattered, all over the place, stupid, talk a lot. The ADHD isn't real, too many thoughts, forgetful, scattered, detail oriented, unmotivated. Always need reminders. Okay. So the reality, and yes, hyperactive, that's definitely the biggest one. So separating perception for truth from truth. Misconception, ADHD is just being hyper, unable to sit still. So the reality is ADHD can look like inattentiveness, daydreaming, quietness, or disorganization, not just hyperactivity. Many adults experience internal restlessness rather than visible behaviors. And this is definitely what I struggle with. Misconception, ADHD is a childhood disorder, adults grow out of it. ADHD often persists into adulthood. Symptoms may change but don't appear, but don't disappear. Adults navigate shifting challenges in attention, organization, and self-management, especially at work. So people with ADHD can't focus at all. People with ADHD can have intense periods of focus, which we call hyperfocus, sometimes on the right task, sometimes on the wrong one. People with ADHD are unreliable or can't handle responsibility. With support and self-knowledge, people with ADHD can be exceptionally creative, persistent, and energetic, often thriving in crisis or fast-paced environments. So how does this show up in Red's life? So ADHD traits can be both assets and obstacles. So here are some challenges. Time management, juggling unpredictable schedules and deadlines, task initiation, completion, starting and finishing reports amidst interruptions, sensory information overload, managing incoming emails, texts, and calls, and teams, and door knocks, and this and that. Impulsivity, speaking candidly in meetings, sometimes seen as unfiltered honesty. Definitely something that I had, once I realized that this was a trait, I had to check myself on, but also understanding why I do it. Need for autonomy, thrives when given creative freedom, may struggle with rigid work. Other challenges, may overcommit. This is definitely something I struggle with. Saying yes to new programs, but struggling with follow through. Not having an understanding of like time and how much time things take. Strong in crisis, weaker with routine, shines during unexpected events, but may seem disengaged during long meetings. Good with icebreakers, but misses details. Great with brainstorming, less so with administrative tasks. So needs flexible structure, not rigid tasks, like I mentioned. Thrives with autonomy and big picture assignments. Struggles with the red tape. So let's do this. Let's flip the perspective. What if these were superpowers? I want you to imagine scatter as dynamic thinking. Picture distractibility as noticing details others miss. And see talkativeness as building trust quickly with new students. So let's reflect. Whether you have ADHD or not, what's one thing you wish your supervisor or team better understood about how your brain works? And you could put that in the chat. Need time to process information on new decisions, yes. When you can hyper focus, then totally zone out for a while, definitely. And I also need to decompress after meetings, especially if they're long and there's a lot of information ask questions to understand, not to be critical. More productive outside the 9 to 5 hours. Yes, me too. I wrote in this presentation from 3 to 8 this morning in true ADHD fashion. I mean, time to process and come up with ideas. Yes. We do good in crisis situations. For me, sometimes I'm not as quick to think on my feet when it comes to certain things. All right. So thank you for that. So what's in your utility belt? Oh, this is a good one. If I'm interrupted on working on something, things can be very out of sight, out of mind. But when I'm on it, I'm very on it. So everyone brings unique skills and problem-solving strategies to their work, like tools in a utility belt for a superhero. Think about a challenge you face on the job, big or small, maybe a tricky student situation, a schedule change, or a team conflict. What's one creative way you tackled it, or how did you turn it into a strength? Please share your utility belt tool. Share your utility belt tool or strategy in the chat. What's something that you turned from a negative to a positive, a creative way you went about something? Me, I'm very creative. That's my, I guess, ADHD superpower, as you can kind of tell by by the presentation. I use my hyper focused time to create. Having personal one-on-ones with my staff because we bounce through many topics. Yes. Great creating engaging staff meetings. People don't understand how important that is because I'm a person, I'm not very good at sitting in meetings. But when you make it engaging, then my brain can kind of work with that. And I'm going to go ahead, I'll read the rest of them. I'm going to move on. So, hidden superpowers of people who have ADHD. Crisis response and adaptability, quickly pivots and remains calm under pressure, expertly handling emergencies, like adapting to a late night student crisis when we're on duty. Relationship building and empathy. People who have ADHD are known to be very empathetic, build trust and rapport through intuition, supporting students by truly listening and noticing emotional strengths. We're very aware of vibe changes and things like that, which I've noticed. Creative problem solving, inventively overcomes challenges, turning limited resources into engaging programs and events. So if you work in housing, especially housing that don't, using what we got to do what we want. So, boundless energy and enthusiasm energizes team meetings and events, staying positive even during long or late hours. Like someone mentioned, they make engaging staff meetings, or that we work outside of the 9 to 5 is when we best thrive. Hyper focus on tasks of interest, intensely focus on important projects, completing complex tasks with remarkable commitment and detail. So even though we are known to be scatterbrained or whatever you want to call it, we do pay attention to a lot of detail. Resourcefulness finds creative solutions to logistical hurdles and student needs by using available resources wisely. Resilience and persistence bounces back from setbacks, consistently showing up and modeling growth for students and colleagues. Quick information processing efficiently processes and acts on multiple issues from conflict mediation to student support. And challenge-oriented mindset thrives on tackling new initiatives, staying motivated by change and complex problems. So we definitely like not necessarily last-minute changes, but to kind of shake things up sometimes. So what's some kryptonite in the workplace, especially in housing? Constant interruptions and lack of focus on time. So, for instance, open office or shared duty desk where anyone can drop by or message you at any time. You're drafting an incident report, but students walk in, emails ping repeatedly, your phone buzzes, staff members ask you questions, your hyper focus gets shattered. So, I have a time in my office where it's like I know my peak time during the day because unfortunately I can't work outside of 9 to 5. I have to work the 9 to 5, and so what the times that I normally have my peak hyper focus, I kind of like block off things. Noisy or distracted environment. So living or working in a residence hall office near a lounge or a game room, loud background noise, a lot of movement, people walking by. That's why I'm glad that my office is kind of like a brick. Like I can't see anything out there because that will drive me insane. Reoccurring disruptions and making it nearly impossible to concentrate, especially on non-urgent tasks. When somebody asks you to do something, be a team or whatever, out of nowhere, and you're working on something, yeah, it shatters your hyper focus. Overly rigid work schedule. A supervisor expects you to stick to a minute by minute schedule with no room for creative problem solving, breaks, task switching, etc. You're told to follow a checklist with no flexibility or how you approach programming or student engagement. Vague instructions. So yes, we are creative, but when you have certain expectations of how you want something to be, just make sure that you're communicating that. So being asked to handle programming for next month without clear details, deadlines, or guidelines. You keep waiting for more information or direction, making it hard to organize or initiate tasks. Sometimes you just need a little bit of something to get started. Multitasking. So you're assigned to all these different jobs. You manage the social media, your own duty, you mentor a new RA, all these different things. And you're juggling all these things without a sense of prioritization, leaving you scattered and overwhelmed. I tell people all the time, I'm not a multitasker. I have to zoom in on one thing. I mean, I can do multiple jobs at once, but not at the same time. So supervisors not being accommodating or understanding. Your supervisor dismisses concerns about distractions. Everybody gets interrupted or it won't allow you to use focus tools, take short breaks or request with written follow-up. You feel you can't ask for what you need, so you stop trying. For me, I walk around the residence hall when I feel myself getting fidgety. I walk around my residence hall and see what's all going on, what's written on the whiteboards. Negative or unsupported workplace culture. Team jokes that forgetting things is lazy, staff don't acknowledge different work styles or neurodiversity. When someone makes a mistake or struggles, others talk behind their back instead of offering help, you know. So that's something I really wanted to point out. That's important. Rejection sensitivity. So people with ADHD can have rejection sensitivity. And so you pitch a new student engagement idea, for instance, and the supervisor dismisses it without explanation. Later, offhand criticism or exclusion from meetings makes you feel like you're not valued, triggering intense emotional reactions. You hesitate to share ideas in the future. So lack of recognition for unique strengths. Your creative event ideas succeed, but only efficient or organized teammates got praised. You feel invisible and disengaged. So a lot of responses to mistakes. Making a typo in a staff memo means harsh criticism in front of your peers rather than a learning conversation. You become fearful of trying new approaches. So to combat all of this, what can we do? Allies assemble, working with someone who has ADHD. So supervisors provide clear written instructions, flexibility for creative problem solving, regular check-ins without micromanaging, encourage strength-based assignments. So if you know that I'm good, for instance, with me, everybody else always assigns me to anything creative, such as a program title or a graphic or something, like those are my strengths. And so they always do that. I mean, it's good to get other experience in things, but I really like to work wherever my strengths are. It makes the job more fun. So peers, so when you're working with someone who has ADHD, make sure you have non-judgmental communication, especially passive aggressiveness. That's pretty much my kryptonite. Respect for different work rhythms. Everybody works differently. Collaborate on deadlines. Help with reminders. So someone mentioned, people always need reminders. It doesn't hurt to kind of pop a calendar invite, and that way I can remember. So supervisee. So if you are someone who struggles with ADHD, advocate for clear expectations with your supervisor, ask for accommodations or flexibility as needed, and leverage strength in visible ways, share wins and team successes. So overall, ways to make residence life more neurodiverse friendly. Normalize flexibility. So allow flexible work hours, workspace options, breaks, and scheduling to meet diverse needs. Of course, everybody's office is different, but whatever you can do to make sure that you feel like you're in a safe space to be able to focus, make sure you advocate for that. Use clear multimodal communication, share instructions in multiple formats, keep messages brief and clear, and check for understanding. For me, if someone is talking fast and they're giving me instructions, okay, what did you just say? I'm so sorry. I may leave and come back like I don't remember nothing you just said. So just try to keep messages brief and clear and check for understanding. Strengths first staffing, assign roles based on individual strengths and rotate opportunities for everyone to shine. So routine check-ins and compassionate feedback. Regularly meet with staff, focus on well-being, and offer positive, actionable feedback. Reduce information overload. Summarize meetings, minimize unnecessary communications, and use tools to keep reminders clear. Offer accommodations without disclosure. Make accommodations and resources available to anyone who needs them, no questions asked. I feel like we live in times where people feel like, people can't ask for what they want in a workplace setting because of like culture and how things have always been done, like a tie yourself up by the bootstraps mentality. But now that we're starting to iron these different things, such as ADHD and anxiety and these type of things, we want to make sure that the workplace is welcoming for everybody. So a tab at a time. This is something I came up with. I was thinking to myself, and I'm like, okay, Caprice, you have all these tabs up. Like, how am I going to organize all this stuff? So then, out of nowhere, here comes a team's message, and you got distracted. So here's some non-cliche tips. This webinar was not for me to be like, oh, this is what ADHD is. This is how you, because most of us struggle with it our whole lives. And if you just now figured out you had or you're a late diagnosis, you're still trying to figure that out. You have to figure out what works for you. But here's some non-cliche tips. So leverage hyperfocus. In crisis or project work, block time for uninterrupted sprints and communicate this proactive need to colleagues. So if you need to block off time, like your peak time is from, for me, anything after lunch, no. But like before lunch, that is a time where I am focused. So parking lot technique. Keep a digital or paper list to jot down non-urgent ideas that pop up during meetings. We are very creative people. Sometimes our mind can be all over the place. Try to create a parking lot system. So me, I don't have it where I write it down. I text it to myself. State what I need. So STIC communication. So the S, state what I need, thank who can help, invite collaboration, clarify next steps, and a script for clear requests. An agency over environment, adjust workplace or a daily routine. So color coded planners, music. Me, this is kind of funny, but I like to watch cop videos and that I just watch that in the background. Like I don't even pay attention to it unless I hear something crazy. Then I'm like, okay, but like it like helps me kind of stay engaged with what I'm doing. It's very interesting, but it works for me. So if it's music or anything like that, if that's allowed in your office, so be it. And make sure for me, I have to have a tidy workplace. I know that that's hard sometimes, but I can get distracted by the things that are like around me. Accountability buddies, pair up with a colleague as an informal check-in, not just as a supervisor. So not just a supervisor. And so I have colleagues, I am new to Texas A&M University. I have colleagues who I can just go to their office and not really, they watch full live concerts, yes. Not really just to chat, but like definitely they do a lot of check-ins like, hey, are you doing okay? And things like that. That has really helped me to have supportive colleagues like that. So my stream solutions. Pick one main task, active tab, to focus on at a time and park the rest for later to maximize your attention. And so I don't go through the whole rigmarole of, I'm going to do it this order, this order, this order, like that. It's just kind of like what is important. As long as everything gets checked off and I can get it done in the time that it needs to get done, then that's when it'll get done. I don't really have a system for the order that it's going to get done. It just depends on what my brain feel like doing. So organize your workspace. So I keep saying this because it's so important. We spend so much time. I think we spend more time at work than we do at home, and I work where I live, kind of. So only what you need for your current task is visible, and use cues to signal when you're focusing. So if you have something that's related to a different task that's like nearby, it's like, oh shoot, I gotta do it. You gotta switch. So you want to make sure that whatever is in front of you is related to the task that you're doing. Use color coding objects or digital nodes to visually remind yourself and others which task you're working on now. When I was in college, at that time I didn't know I had ADHD. My planners were color coded to the T. I don't know if you remember like being young and then you had a red for math and yellow for English folder, that type of thing. I did that with my planner and it helped me a lot. So if that's your thing, then do that. And also, color coding your Outlook or Google Calendar to like different things. So if it's like a task, a meeting with a supervisor, a meeting with your students, that type of thing. Let colleagues know when you're focused in work mode and practice saying you'll switch tasks after completing what you're working on. So I'll get to that in a second. I'll get to that when I finish. I mean, of course, if it's a crisis, switch tasks, but You decide what's your urgency and your emergency, no one else. Enjoy your day, end your day by reviewing your main accomplishments and decide what single task to prioritize next. So, if you accomplish the whole day worth of tasks, which is hard, but people who struggle with ADHD, end your day by reviewing your main accomplishments. If there was something that you didn't get to, but it's not due until a couple of days later, like try not to be hard on yourself because that stress also can trigger some things when it comes to having ADHD, make you stressed out. So advocate for team norms that protect focus time and suggest tools or routine that helps everyone concentrate. So if you have a colleague that randomly stops by the office and it distracts you, you may want to communicate like, hey, you don't, and of course, this is none of this is to say you have to reveal your diagnosis, but just like, hey, during these work hours, I'm kind of like, or put a sign on your door or something like that. I usually say, hey, like, not free during this time. Please don't. So clear communicate your needs by requesting single task assignments and asking which priority you work on first. If that's something you struggle with is prioritizing, try to take it bits and pieces at a time and get additional support from your supervisor. So that is all that I have. Does anybody have any questions, any feedback, or anything? This is my information. Follow me on LinkedIn. And then that is my email address. But I really do appreciate you all for being here. I know that I ended sooner than what I talk fast. It's true ADHD fashion. So, but I thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. This was fun. So if you have any questions or anything, you can pop them in the chat. Yes, so if you're at the front counter and there are massive amounts of distraction, and so staying focused is beyond difficult. So with that, yeah. And I sometimes see people who wear headphones, but I guess that's hard when you're like front facing. Some people allow it, some people don't. So it's like you have to figure out what your peak time is and um, how to work with that. And and then also try to get support too, because there's other support, just like there is with anxiety and depression, outside of, taking medication or anything like that. If it helps for you to doodle, during that time to stay focused, that's important. Even if you're just watching something in the background without the volume on, just have to come up with some creative solutions. Okay, well, I don't see anything else, so I thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Oh, someone said, can you ask for an hour or two a week away from the desk? Maybe yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Caprice. This was a fantastic presentation. I saw a lot of reactions, a lot of engagement, and I think that your tips will help a lot of our attendees just kind of level up in their work and feel more comfortable in their work environments and help them to utilize their superpowers too.
Thank you.
I know I took some really good tips, so thank you.
Thank you. And there are
Um,
people giving good tips in the chat, so thank you all.
Yes, awesome, awesome. Well, like I said, everyone, this will be available on our YouTube channel. So feel free to go back, review the tips, take notes. And again, Caprice's information is right there. So thank you again, Caprice. And I hope that everybody has a fantastic day.
Thank you.
Thank you.